Hey, what's up everybody, and welcome to another week of Anthem news. Yes, we still do have those from time to time, even with Bioware's complete silence on the matter. But anyway, there's official info about work being done on new lore, story, and a whole bunch of new stuff on top, including some more alleged leaks about what's currently going on with Bioware at the studio behind the scenes and the work that is currently being put in the game. So let's dive right into it, and also a quick reminder of our giveaway, which is getting very close to its completion. If you haven't checked that one yet, I've put some links down below you can follow, and there are 3 days left until the winner is picked. As always, a huge shout out to Instant Gaming for organizing this giveaway. But with that being said and done, let's get started with the official news, because some of you might still find it quite interesting. So Cameron Dayton, which is the narrative director at Bioware, has posted this last week when asked about the lore in Anthem. As he said, we've got some new lore, new stories, and new characters hot off the grill. Madame Chronicler is currently making more room in the library, and that is pretty much it. For those who didn't get the Madame Chronicler reference, she's basically the annoying old lady with a cane sitting next to the Legion of Dawn mural in Fort Tarsis. You probably talked to her at least on a number of occasions, but probably forgot her because, well, most characters in the game are pretty much forgettable. But anyway, this info is as unexpected as it is welcomed, though I wish the company handled new info a little bit better. Instead of us having to resort to digging every corner of the internet to find out something new, I wish they had one single Twitter account that handled all of the new information. Right now, what Bioware is doing is not ideal, to say the least. Still, I am glad about the fact that we have some form of official confirmation about some of the work that is being currently done on the game. Despite what's being said right now and what can be seen at a surface level, reports are coming in that Bioware is very much working like mad behind the scenes on new content for this game, and hopefully we will get to see this new content as soon as next month. So again, this has been scheduled for EA Play or E3 or both, who knows, but I think it's like 10 days until that happens, so in 10 more days we will have a definitive answer. Do take this new info with a grain of salt though. We don't know yet if this is going to make it within the upcoming update. This could very well mean stuff has been already created in-game for the next update, but this could also mean that these are just new recording sessions that were recently completed and will get eventually added in the game at some point, but it might not be that soon. So keep that in mind, because we also had news about other actors recording dialogues for the game as early as March, but it's not like we saw anything in the game come up as a result of that, or at the very least it was not noticeable. This new lore, stories, and character development could very well be the result of that recording session from a few months back, which would make sense, but it could also be something completely different, so just keep your expectations low for now, which most of you probably are already. But moving on, we do have another official tweet coming from EA Access account with a new reward for EA Access members. According to it, subscribers will get a new mortification vinyl for playing Anthem from now through the end of this month, and the rewards will be given sometimes in June, so keep in mind that you will need an active EA Access membership from what this message implies. So if you are and are curious to see what this vinyl is all about, then logging in once in the game between now and the 31st would probably qualify you to get it. I will say that we don't know yet how these rewards even look like in game, so it's not like they have been probably even created yet, knowing how stuff is going down at Bioware, but you know, it's at least something free and you can get it with the membership if you already have it. If you don't, then don't buy it just for a vinyl, because it really doesn't make any sense if you didn't already had enough reasons to begin with. Moving on though, we do have some follow-ups to the alleged leak we talked about last week. I already gave my 2 cents about the validity of these claims, but since people want to know more about this kind of stuff, well, here we are. Starting off with the first few ones, the source claims both Star Wars: The Old Republic and Anthem are now handled by virtually the same team, and there is competition for resources, which is a little bit worrying if this is true. This most probably implies the fact that Bioware Austin is the same studio working on the live service for both of these games, and Star Wars: The Old Republic is still going strong and will have a new expansion sometimes this year, so it makes sense for the studio to work on both of them. We don't know yet if any of of the team members were designated for one game or another and have to split between these two. Most probably there were two different teams that worked on the games differently, and I don't think at any point they overlapped with one another working on the same game, but you know, who knows. Bioware is going on so wrong right now about this thing that I'm not really sure what to expect. But anyway, there's also talk about Anthem's player base being at an all-time low, even though this month saw an influx of new players, and we already knew about this kind of stuff as the game did drop from pretty much all of the top list of most played games and has been doing so for months, so this is not like it's new information. But you know, lately even the live streams have come to a dead stop, and I don't think anyone is even watching the Anthem live streams anymore. The same goes with the info about Anthem having issues with the player retention, though this is something the company is very much interested in and motivated in improving, at least that is what is being reported. And I think that makes sense. I mean, Anthem has a severe lack of content coupled with a rather stingy loot system, which makes even the last few players to not even want to spend more than a few hours at a time doing the same thing over and over again, knowing that there's not going to be any progress to be done, and also, well, the loot just sucks. Again, it really boils down to the two major problems Anthem always had, which is the lack of content and stinginess with the loot. So if Bioware truly cares about retention and about keeping players playing for as long as possible, they need a better reward system first, otherwise it just ends up like, for example, the Sunken Cell Stronghold, which even though it was new content and it was better, at least in terms of mechanics, than previous strongholds, it didn't catch on because people found it unrewarding, so they still went back to the more boring strongholds like the Heart of Rage and do them over and over again because they knew they would be getting rewarded, and it took a little bit less than any of the other strongholds to begin with. Anyway, it's been said that the live team is very unhappy and disappointed about missing deadlines and breaking promises to their fans, which hopefully motivates them to do a comeback for this game. They are also unhappy with the leadership and how they are choosing to deal with this problem, and that is of course most probably true. I don't doubt this one bit, and despite the apparent lack of care from Bioware or from its employees, I don't think there are many of them at the studio who aren't feeling a lot of discomfort or maybe even pressure from the game's current situation. And Bioware has at least a moral, if not even a monetary obligation to their fans to come up on top and fix their game in a timely manner. I don't think it's in their best interest to leave it as they did with Mass Effect Andromeda, but you know, it's EA, it's Bioware, it's corporate stuff, so anything can happen. What I did find funny about this leak was the fact that Bioware's leadership allegedly is thinking that not talking about Anthem is working quote-unquote wonders, and negative comments about the game have decreased across all of the forms of social media as a result, which I don't think it's that true. If the past few days and the countless past experiences have taught me anything, is the fact that Bioware's silence only adds more fuel to the current anger. Even Reddit has seen a number of highly voted threads in the past few days because of the lack of communication. On the bright side though, there's also some info about what the new update will again allegedly contain. So a patch with quality of life improvements and fixes is ready, but it's being held back by leadership because they want at least some content in it. New content will most likely be dropping with said patch, as well as in the next few weeks, so again, take it with a grain of salt. Anyway, later on, the same source posted some of the stuff being worked upon right now at Bioware, and I quote, in crunch mode, so take it as you will. But on top of the bug fixes and quality of life stuff, there's also multiple new strongholds, a new screen, the Cataclysm event, the mastery system replacement that is not even called that anymore, it's going to be called something else allegedly, guilds, leaderboards, new story, new lore, free play content, missions, challenges, new enemies, and a new loot system, which sounds incredible for one single update. Some new javelin ideas and the pilot level increase are also being discussed, though work has not yet begun on any of these. Again, I can't stress enough that this is all unverified info, or maybe that is something that they're planning to do in multiple updates, which makes sense because they have announced that for quite some time. But if it's in just June, that is impressive. Color me impressed. if that is the case. But you know, I can see some of these happening in one single update, mainly because a lot of the stuff that they haven't developed during the development cycle most probably remained unfinished and only now gets completed, and it would make sense to be added. I mean, it's not like they started working from scratch in the past few months. They definitely had a lot of stuff still not yet finalized, and now they're probably finishing off work with that one. So I think it would make sense for them to add that much stuff, especially now that it's been 2 months since we saw any kind of big updates. Anyway, this has been the latest news. Now tell me, if this update is as large as the rumor says it to be, would you come back to Anthem? Would you give it a second chance? Do you think Bioware even had enough time to implement all of that in one single patch? Comment your opinion down below, and in the meantime, don't forget to leave a like on this video if you enjoyed it. Also subscribe for more, and I'll see you guys later, so peace out.